Hey there, Must Love MMA fans. Have I got a story for you guys and gals today? This fighter put on one of the most exciting fights the fans have ever seen. But guess what? He didn't even know until the last minute he was going to get a chance to fight. Who is the fighter? Well, you better not go away, because I got the story coming up. Welcome back, Must Love MMA fans, and today we're chatting with Joey Beltran, the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship winner. Joey, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. How's the weather out there?
It's doing pretty good. Pretty nice.
Pretty good. I'm glad to finally have you on the show. All right, let's get right to it. That win was amazing. Break it down for us if you can.
The win went exactly how I thought it would be. I expected it to be a war, given our history. That's the third time Tony and I had faced each other in combat sports. The other two being in MMA. Yeah. And he had two wins over me. And so I'm excited that I finally got one over his ass. And, but it was that I knew, looking at the field of the tournament, and the ironic part is that we're the alternate bout, right? But I knew that Tony's going to be the toughest fight out of that whole field.
Really? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that was an amazing fight. I feel like fans really gravitated to the support. Are you surprised that so many people were in love? Basically, that's the best way I can describe it. Were in love with bare knuckle fighting, or did you not expect that at all?
Honestly, I think it was really, it came down to like that night, and not to, I gotta give myself and Tony credit. I mean, I think it really did come down to our fight.
I do too.
And we went. I knew it was just like really like a storybook ending for that night. I mean, because the fact that A, we were the alternate bout, and then B, they told us the day of the weigh-ins they were going to make us a swing bout. Now, for those that aren't familiar with the swing bout, I mean, basically we have to stay warmed up the whole night. Whenever they had room for us, they would shove us in. That being said, there was a chance that we weren't even going to make pay-per-view. We weren't going to even be on the telecast. Had all the fights gone to decision, that was a reality. Yeah. And, so I just kept sitting in the back and just praying and meditating, just relaxing. And I knew that once we got on TV time, we were going to steal the show. We were going to light that place on fire, and we did.
And you certainly did. I think it was fight of the night, or fight of the BK Fighting Championship so far, for sure. Question, do you feel like the sport, because you were on a 3-fight losing streak, do you feel like the sport of bare knuckle fighting has kind of reinvigorated you, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had a couple tough decisions sandwiched around a quick knockout loss to Alessia Sakara. But with my MMA career, it's been just up and down, up and down, up and down. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And this was the first time over my whole 10, 11-year career that I've lost 3 in a row. Yeah. So I was honestly like done. Like mentally, I was like, all right, well, whatever. I'm okay with it. I've traveled the world. I've fought at the highest level for about 8 years now, and it's all good. And then my old coach / former manager, Eric Del Fiero, who also manages Rowdy Beck, he from the Alliance family, he hit me up. He's like, hey, kind of like in a joking manner, you wouldn't be interested in doing a bare knuckle fight, would you? Yeah, I'm game. And then once we found out I had an opportunity to fight Tony Lopez, I was like, oh, I know that's going to be fun. I'll do that. I'll fight that guy in front of the Circle K, in front of the market. Okay.
On the highway, in the streets, in the airplane. You'll go anywhere for that fight.
Yeah, with him,
Good for you. And just a few minutes ago, you mentioned that you were backstage kind of meditating and prepping. I also read an interview, a web interview about you, that there was also an altitude issue. Can you talk to us a little bit about that as well, please?
Yeah, I mean, I had never fought at altitude before. I'd only heard horror stories, and 6,000 feet, that's a significant amount. That's no joke. By the time I became aware of it, it was already a week before the fight, so there wasn't much that I could do. I just, like I said in the interview before, I just, mentally prepared, mentally accepted the fact that it was going to hurt, it was going to burn. But I know that I knew that I could push through. I knew I'd put in the work regardless. So if it hurt a little more, it burned a little more as far as my lungs, like just keep going, and I'd get them.
Yeah. You didn't get any of the nausea thing going on, because I used to travel back and forth from Colorado a lot, and that used to happen to me. It was like awful for skiing, especially.
Yeah, I definitely, I would wake up in the middle of the night, like to go to the bathroom, and I would have like a pounding headache.
Yep. Every
night that I was there in Wyoming. But, it's just added to it for me. It just added to the challenge. Just go out and handle it.
Well, you certainly did handle it. What was it like for you to fight Bare Knuckle? Because a lot of people have been curious about the aggression in the hands, the hitting, the pressure on the hands. So what was it like for you to fight Bare Knuckle?
I've been in my share of street fights, so I've definitely punched people bare knuckles before.
Okay.
But as far as comparing it to MMA, the impact, as far as like how much it hurt, for lack of better terms, was about the same with MMA gloves. It just did more cosmetic damage than anything.
Yeah.
Like I got cut, I got sliced up, but But I will say this: when I fought Sergey Karatanov, my last MMA fight out in Russia back in February. Now, granted, he is a little heavier than Tony, but still, I mean, I did a really good job of evading a lot of his strikes. Even so, the impact that he was able to generate, like I was in bed essentially for like 10 days after the fight. Like, we just come out, go to the bathroom, get some food, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Whereas this fight, the damage was just cosmetic. I was fine. I was back. I flew home on Sunday, went back to work on Monday, and I was all right. I just all my coworkers making fun of me.
Joey, you've been boxing since you were 10, right? So how did you prepare for bare knuckle fighting? As far as boxing seems to be in your DNA, you just mentioned the street fighting. But I'm just curious how you changed your prep around for particularly the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship fight that you just had.
Well, I definitely, right up until like a couple weeks before the fight, I just did everything business as usual as far as my preparation with my mitt work and my bag work and everything. Then like right about 2 weeks before, I switched and I did everything bare knuckle as far as the mitt work and bag work, just to get used to. For me, it was really the space, like the spacing and the distance, because with the 16-ounce glove, it's an inch and a half difference as far as making an impact.
It's interesting.
MMA glove is like still like a half an inch, like to impact impact through the target and really feel that. So I just wanted to make sure that I was driving my knuckles, keeping my wrists sturdy, and getting used to not having anything funky happen with my wrists, hitting the bags and stuff like that. So that's about it. I just did essentially just bare knuckle work on my bags, on the bag and mitts.
Switching gears a little bit, what's it like to train at Alliance?
It's crazy, man. When you hear about all
the guys,
all this research as far as or people, you hear people talk about, criticize hard training and not sparring as much and all that stuff. I wish they would have come out with those studies a long time ago. But you know what? Honestly, I definitely feel that was just, we didn't know any better, but also too, I mean, we were just feeding off each other. We were all just young and hungry. When the team first started, I mean, Brandon Vera was the only person that was in the UFC. And Dominic Cruz, I think, just made his WEC debut and lost to Uriah Faber. So essentially, we were just all a bunch of young up-and-comers. And then it was me and Phil made our debuts on the same show, made our UFC debut. And then like a month later was Travis. And then like a couple months after that, Alex Gustafson came and joined. So, dude, you're talking about on a single day of sparring, like hard sparring days, you're gonna get in there with, you know, Travis Brown, Brandon Vera, Phil Davis, or Alex Gustafson. Like, one of those guys is gonna get you. Like, one of them is gonna get you. You know,
that's
you're gonna get
for sure. They hit hard, those boys.
Yeah, so I mean, it was excellent. It was an excellent way to come, you know, to groom and come up. Now, as I'm a little older, I don't spend too much time down there, to be honest with you. I spend a lot of time just working with my specific boxing coach, who happens to be also my childhood best friend, Adam Castro. He's an excellent coach out of Carlsbad. And, you know, I just train with him, stay real close to my family, and just get everything that I need to. As far as that, when I really comes time to get some hard roundings, I always go down. I help out Phil for his fights as much as I can, as much as my schedule permits. And, you know, it's still family. Whether or not I'm training down there as much, you know, it doesn't really matter.
That's nice to hear that you're still with him. Kind of creates, I think, a sense of, I guess I would call it, the familiarity is good for the fighter, I believe, mentally, because it's like you can really depend on that person because he's had your back before. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's you know, when that old cliche, you know, you shed blood, sweat, and tears in the gym with somebody, you definitely have a bond.
You know, you fought so many great opponents in your stellar career. Looking back, though, is there anybody where you would like to rematch again, and why?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. Not really. I mean, I got the one rematch that I wanted.
Yeah.
I got that. I would, you know, in a perfect world, I would like to, you know, win the Bare Knuckle heavyweight tournament, go back to MMA, get back a couple wins, get into Bellator and rematch Matt Mitrione. I think that would be an excellent.
I'd like to see that for sure.
And Matt and I have become you know, buddies and friends through the industry. After our fight, you know, you can't help but respect somebody after the 15 minutes of killing each other. You know, so it's not like animosity or anything. I just think like once again, like that's a fight that would, you know, whatever building we're in, we'd light that house on fire. We'd make a lot of money, and it would be great for the fans.
I'd like to see that fight for sure. I like Matt. I haven't had a chance to interview him, but he's coming up in the next couple weeks that I've got to sit down and do an interview with him. He's a great fighter. He's really come a long way. I remember he was on Ultimate Fighter. Just it seems like yesterday.
Yeah, he's definitely coming into his own. So I'm excited to see how well he does in the tournament.
Yeah.
And yeah.
How did you get the nickname Mexicutioner?
Well, my friend Eddie Sanchez, who is a UFC veteran himself, who also has a silly nickname, the Manic Hispanic, he came up with it. He gave it to me.
Mexicutioner, man. Yeah, I gave that to him. You know, both were being Hispanic, he'd be Mexican as well. You don't want to step in the cage with this dude.
It was about my third fight in, and yeah, man, people seem to like it.
So, entonces usted está loco, no?
A little bit, yeah.
That means you are crazy. I think in the proper Spanish, I'm not sure, because down in Miami here, we don't really speak any proper grammar. We just kind of wing it as we go. You know, I have a really great photo of you with George Lopez. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think I kind of scared him, or I didn't care. I was like, this is my chance. I rushed.
Good for you.
I rushed. Because it was at a Bellator show in San Diego.
Right.
It was at a Bellator show in San Diego, and we had like pretty good seats. Like Bellator hooked us up, but we weren't like cage side, like VIP, you know. So I was like, I saw George Lopez. I saw the security guard turn away. I hopped a little gate and I ran up on him. I was like, hey man, can I take a picture? And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And that was about it.
What is your secret talent?
I don't really have. I mean, you know, what can I say?
Do you like to cook?
I'm starting to really come into my own as a little bit of a cook. I have my job. I signed on. I started working over at a Hunter Steakhouse in the right down the street from my house, and I just worked the grill, just simple stuff like tri-tip, ribs, chicken, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy, but it's really just. I've always watched shows like Anthony Bourdain, rest in peace, and Action Bronson's Fuck That Delicious, all that stuff. I've always loved cooking shows. I remember my wife would always complain, "Don't you sit all day and watch these stupid shows? When you ever cook for us?"
Oh, it's funny.
I'm just studying.
Before
But now I'm because I started working in the last few months. I started back in March. I'm pretty active in the kitchen now, so not real. I guess that's a secret talent.
That is a secret talent. Do you make any Hispanic or Latino dishes, or no?
Yeah, I make some pretty good chilaquiles. It's a breakfast dish. Yeah.
I like Latin food very much. So you said that you really don't have a secret talent, but I'm just curious to find out before we go today that if you could pick one superpower for you to have, what might that be?
Time travel.
Okay. I like that. Any particular time you'd like to go back to or go forward to?
I mean, yeah, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'd like to go back and not make so many mistakes, but you know, it is what it is. It's what got me here on this interview with you. So I guess in the end, it was all God's plan to get me here.
That's a good way to look at it. And I'm honored that you took the time to interview with me today, by the way, because I know it's really, you've been up since like 5 o'clock in the morning over there at LA time, and I'm looking at 6 o'clock here, East Coast time, but you've been having a long day. Before we go today, Joey, is there anybody else that you would like to give a shout out to or thank your sponsors? Any of those things you'd like to do? This is your opportunity.
I mean, no, man, just the same sponsors, the same people that have always supported me. You know, Triumph United since, gee whiz, man. Can't even remember how long it's been. Over 10 years, they've been supplying me gear and support. You know, that's about it. Oh yeah, Tough Toro Tape took care of my hands. Oh my gosh, Tough Toro Tape is a company. It's a new company based out of Texas. Yeah, those guys. They hooked it up with a lot of tape for my training, and I actually wore the tape in the fight, so shit works.
All right, we're glad to hear that. Can you also tell our Muscle MMA family where they can reach you in social media?
Yeah, I keep it real simple. You can just follow me on Twitter at Mexicutioner760.
Okay, good enough. And Muscle MMA fans, you can find me on Twitter at Susan Cingari, on Instagram at Susan Cingari MMA, and on Facebook at Susan Cingari MLMMA. And I'd sure appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button below, leave a comment, have a question for Joe, we can get back in touch with him, have a rant, anything you want to leave below, I read it. So Joey, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Mira, yo necesito para practicar mi español. Sí.
That was pretty good.
Yo estoy tratando. Mucho gusto para la entrevista, ¿o no?
Yeah, la entrevista.
Mucho gusto para la entrevista. Me ha encantado y buena suerte, Joey.
Muchas gracias.